I hope you all are having a great day.
Some of you guys were asking me about this little key fob and the alarm system. It's not aftermarket, it's OEM. If you see here on the fob, it says it's BMW, has a serial number and everything. And when you pop the hood, anyways, if you look under here, this is the little sound for the alarm thing. You can see it says BMW on it as well. I have no idea what kind of option this was, or I have no idea what cars came with it, or even what years they did it. All I know is that mine came with it. Oh, check this thing out. I don't really care too much about electric cars, but this is one I've never seen before. A Chevy Bolt. Okay. So now on to what we're going to do today. Now usually on the channel, if you guys have been watching for a while, you'll know that we usually do modifications, or we're gonna go drive through the canyon, or we're gonna go drifting, or do some donuts, or something like that. But today's gonna be a little different because we gotta do some troubleshooting. Now again, if you've been with the channel for a while, you'll know that I do drive this thing pretty freaking hard. Every single time that I get in this thing to go for a drive, I always drive it hard because that's what I bought it to do. No car is going to be able to withstand basically all the miles put on it, be abusive miles, without having some stuff go wrong every once in a while. Now luckily, I don't think that the problem that we have is a huge problem. It doesn't have anything to do with the drivetrain, but so basically what I've been noticing is that when I'm driving and I'm under, say, like 35-ish miles an hour, I've been hearing kind of a clunk or just something knocking around from around this wheel, the rear left wheel. And then when I'm driving faster speeds and I go over imperfections in the road, say like small potholes or just quick little bumps, I'll just notice that the sound of the suspension just doesn't sound normal. Something's different. So I have some suspicions on what I think that it is, but in order to figure it out, I don't even know if I will figure it out, but in order to try to figure it out, what we have to do is take the car down the road, jack it up, take the wheel off, and I'm gonna take a look at some stuff down there. Something else I want to mention is if you guys remember the episode where I put the E34 steering joint in my steering column and replaced a little rubber joint that was in it with that, I put about 350 miles on the car so far. I just wanted to give you guys kind of a little impression after driving the car for a while and tell you what I think about it. So pretty much every single time that I drive, I notice that the steering is better. It is more precise. I haven't really found the downside to it. I would definitely recommend it. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it in the description. It's also blazing hot outside today, like 95, 96 degrees. So instead of working on it outside, I just decided to pull the car in the garage the front way so I can get access to the back, and we'll try to work on it in the garage today. So as you can see, the car is off the ground. Both the wheels are off, just so that I can compare left to right. And it's a lot easier to see the suspension and stuff when the wheels aren't on, even though nothing is going on the right side. So the first thing I thought that I would check is if any of the collars on the coilovers are loose, and the ones for the spring are just fine, but then I looked at the shock body and that one was loose. So I also noticed, I counted the threads on this side and the other side. I noticed that this one's threaded out a little bit, so it's not in as far as it used to be. The other one was about 92 threads, this one's about 96, so I'm gonna thread it back in, about 4 threads, and then tighten this back up and then keep looking because I'm not exactly sure that this is what was causing the noise. A little top tip from an experience that I've had in dealing with coilovers as well: if you're ever going to thread them, if you don't want them to lock up or to get jammed with crap, because that's what happens most of the time when your coilover seize and you can't adjust them, it's because there's been a bunch of crap jammed in threads from you moving these around and it just gunking it all up inside of here. So before you do anything, use a plastic brush or maybe a wire brush if you got one, but that might take off the pain. So I suggest using a plastic one if you got it, and just clean off all the threads. Also, a big thing with these Megan Spec RS coilovers, this little wire, or this little hose that goes from this external reservoir to the one right here, if you adjust this height without loosening this bracket that holds this on, if this moves up and down, it can bust a little connection for that hose where it goes into the bottom. So you gotta make sure to have this bracket loose too. Let me kind of give you my thought process here and how I've been troubleshooting this and trying to figure out what is going wrong. So first what I did is grab this and that, both things which are not pry bars, and I used them as pry bars. I basically got in here and put it up against in any crack or whatever, up against whatever, and pried it against stuff to see if I can get anything to wiggle around or move to see if something was obviously loose or obviously broken. Didn't find any of that. So the interesting thing is that when the car's on the ground, if I grab it by the trunk and shake left to right, like side to side, I can hear something knocking over here somewhere. And so it's not really as much of an up and down thing as it is side to side. And I know that it's pretty common for the subframe to rust out, or a lot of the mounts to rust out, but mine it's totally fine. There's no really rust anywhere. Most of the stuff's already been coated, and so if there's any rust, it's just very minor surface rust. Nothing that would compromise integrity of anything. I don't doubt that the subframe mounts are old and they're bad. I probably should replace those, but I don't think that's what's causing the problem. So I pried through everywhere. I can't really find what's wrong, so I think that the next step as far as diagnosing this is going to be having the car on the ground, letting a friend shake the car left and right, while I feel around and see if I can touch and feel where any type of vibration is coming from that would be causing that knocking noise. All that aside, it's really not that big of a deal. It's not super loud. I don't think it's ruining anything. And like we did earlier, we did tighten this back up, so I will put it on the ground. We'll go for a drive to see if that was what caused the problem. But back onto the subject of the subframe. I have for a while been wanting to drop the whole subframe and burn out all the bushings and replace them with polyurethane ones just so that the car handles better. I can tell the rubber's old. A lot of times when I'm flooring it and I'm going over bumps, I can literally feel that subframe moving forward and backwards because of that loose old rubber. So that's something I do want to do. If you guys would be interested in seeing me, I mean, if I did this, if I had this done, it would be done by me. If you guys would be interested in seeing that whole process of what you have to do to drop the subframe and replacing all those bushings and stuff, let me know, and that's probably something that I'll look to doing in the near future. So I think all that's left to do right now is just to get this thing back on the ground, since I couldn't really find anything that was obvious, and we'll go for just a short little drive to see if this made a difference, if that little bit of the knocking went away. And then later on, I don't know if I'll be able to get this on camera, but I'll get underneath the car while a friend shakes it around and see if I can figure out what's going on. If I do find something that was wrong, I will be sure to let you guys know what it was. Car is back on the ground. We got the lugs all torqued left and right side, so we are good to go. Because I could not figure this crap out, ooh, it's always a tight fit getting in here. The only thing that's left to do now is to go for a little test drive to 7-Eleven so that we can cool off with a big, tall Slurpee while at the same time getting cancer from all the sugar. Oh, and we'll also be able to test out to see if tightening that collar affected anything at all. Look at that, 75,279 miles. So when I bought this, it had about 71,800, so basically 72,000. So I've driven a little over 3,000 miles since I bought it, which isn't that bad considering that I've had, we'll just say 3,500 miles, which isn't that bad considering that I've had this car since November of last year, so a little while. I'm on track for about 6,000 miles a year. There we go. Never forget your protection. Oh, I love that noise. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Are any of you guys old enough to remember those commercials? But seriously, 7-Eleven's only good for Slurpees. Please don't buy gas here. I was hoping for some pina colada, ended up going with some Coke and cherry. Not a bad combination. Dudes, I have to say, I am loving the stance about how high this thing is sitting on these coilovers. It is perfect in my opinion. Woo. And as always, I'm loving the halos. They're so bright, even in the day. If I ever make a 5 things I hate or whatever about my E36 M3, one of the things that's definitely going to be on the list is these freaking cup holders that will not fit anything in them. They're pretty much useless. I'm surprised nobody has like an aftermarket solution for these things, especially because they just kind of snap in and out. So on the way back, I'm going to drive very nice and slow. 1, so that I can pay attention to see if that kind of knocking noise has lessened any. And 2, because I don't want this Slurpee to spill all over my Vaders. So I didn't really notice anything when we were on the way here, but I wasn't really paying attention for it. I'm hoping that's a good sign. That kind of stuff and those kind of imperfections in the road are the kind of things that would let me hear that little knock noise. So let's go over that. My goodness, I don't hear a thing. Let's try a pothole. Oh, dudes, I think that was it. Escalade. All right, here's some more bumps coming up. Don't really hear anything. Oh yeah. All right, I think we had some success here. So usually by now, I definitely would have heard that. The whole side-to-side motion thing, I don't really hear that knocking noise when I'm driving that much. The one that I heard that was kind of new was a little more higher pitched. And I think that by tightening that collar that was on there, we fixed that problem because I have not heard it at all since we've been driving. Oh, that's good. It's always nice when you can fix something and it turns out to be something easy, which usually doesn't happen. Okay, so here's something else cool that I want to show you guys that I noticed when I was driving around. So my radar detector here. There's one of those little speed signs up here that radars you and tells you how fast you're going and then flashes if you're going over the speed limit. We're going to go past that and I'm going to show you how these little arrows work on this radar detector and show you how accurate this thing is. So as you can see, right now the signal is pretty weak. The arrow's pointing up, so it means ahead of us is where the radar signature is coming from. It's getting stronger. By the way, it's right there. That's the thing right there. Okay, now the signal's a lot stronger. It's pointing to the side arrow saying it's next to us, and now it's pointing behind us. So that thing works pretty good, and it's pretty accurate. By the way, thank you guys for all the support that you gave me on the Type R video. I know that most of you are subscribers because of the E36 stuff, so it's cool to see all you subscribers giving me support for videos that don't even have anything to do with an E36. So thanks for watching. Now, it's only been 4 days since that video's gone up. It's got almost 20,000 views, which is really good for the channel. So obviously, most of the people who are watching that aren't subscribers. But when the video first was uploaded, I noticed a lot of comments from my OG subscribers. You guys are awesome. There's like a track car, BRZ, up on a trailer in front of this house. Oh, dude, that thing looks sick. It's boosted too. There's an intercooler up front, probably supercharged. That thing's got to be a ton of fun to drive. And you guys know me, I have a hard time driving this car without pushing it hard in one way or another. It's just how I want to drive the car. So let's do some of that. What do you say we try ourselves a little one-handed launch here? Whew, not bad. Gosh, I love driving this car. I honestly don't know why they put those little speed things up here. All it does is make you want to speed even faster. I think that will about do it for today's episode. We were able to hit Vanos a few times, have some fun, do a couple launches, and also fix a noise on the car that was kind of driving me crazy. Sounds like a pretty good day to me. Now, if you're new to the channel and this is your first time coming here, welcome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks again for joining us for yet another episode of Treats on the Streets. If you guys liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, it's pulling hard today. All right, should we try one more launch? I think so. About 4,000 RPMs. Oh, a little bog.